So I'm going to ask you from another sneak preview.
Mhm.
I've had this image in my mind and what the root of all evil is. And tell me if you think this is true or not true. But I believe this is the root of all evil. And if we can deal with this horrible creature, all our lives be better, we'd live longer, feel better, get less sick. The evil is called stress.
Hmm.
I believe stress is what does a lot of us in. It can make people lose their hair. It can make people get physically sick, mentally unbalanced, health. Now, obviously, there's different wiring in our brains and how we work, but always it seems to always come back down to stress and how we perceive stress, how we deal with stress, and that will influence how our lives will flow. How do you feel when I say that?
Well, yes. There is so many things that stress impacts. And you hit on something in saying how we perceive stress, because there's really fascinating, more recent science out now that has shown that our perception of stress makes all the difference to the outcome of how we deal with a situation, with our biology, with our physical symptoms, and potential illness or not, mentally and physically. So perception is key. And today there's a lot of work being done around how do we actually shift our perceptions of stress to being able to see stress as enhancing versus stress as disruptive.
And I've seen people in different walks, especially as clients, as a real estate lawyer, and then when they come into my office and how their manner as far as they talk and how they're feeling, and I can see kind of where they're at. Almost like whatever I'm going to say or not say at this point, they're living in this world and they're choosing to be unhappy or happy and they're wallowing in it. The one that really sticks out to me, one story was I had this couple, they had to sell a property, could not sell the property for the life of them. And it was really diving on them. They were going to life savings to carry the property until they could sell it. And I remember sitting down with the both of them and looking at the husband and telling him, you need to deal with this immediately as far as how you're acting about this because you look like a ghost right now. And I'm telling you, if you don't stop doing what you're doing right now, you're going to put yourself in an early grave. Like he was very, very young. He was, I think, barely 40, if that. And I said, you really need to think about your mental outlook right now because the situation is what it is. But you're choosing to drive you down to the bottom. This is not good. Remember, I told you this. Came back to me 2 years later and said to me, maybe it was 3 years at this point, says, I wish I'd listened to you. Turns out I got cancer and I had to go through chemo. And it just ate away at me, the thought of what this man had endured. And it got me started to think, does mental make physical? Can people literally make themselves so physically ill that they could even bring on cancer? I'm not a doctor. I can't profess to say yes or no, but I can say this much. Stress don't help.
And that is really what we can say. You won't find anywhere in the literature anybody saying absolutely stress can bring on cancer.
Right.
And I actually do work at Wellspring, which is a cancer support center, and lead programs there. And so we're pretty clear in that language.
Yes.
But we know that it can exacerbate things that are going on already in the body. And really, as you said, it certainly doesn't help.
I think of two sets of people when I sit with them. One person coming and saying, I'm done for. This is going to eat away at me. I'm no good. This is not going to end well for me. Versus someone saying, I am strong. I can fight this. I will recover. I will be better. And those positive versus negative mindsets. And even if you don't get the results you want, still feeling better throughout is a plus too.
Absolutely. And what we say to ourselves makes a big difference. So you've hit on a number of really excellent coping mechanisms, and the inner chatter, what we say to ourselves, makes all the difference to how we feel, to our perceptions, and to our behaviors and responses in situations. So it's really important to get to know our own inner chatter as well and see, is it like spiraling us down, or is it sort of spiraling us up into a place where we quite literally, when we're not in a stressed place, see more options, are able to be more creative, maybe to be more in a problem-solving frame of mind, versus when we're stressed, it's not just kind of an idiosyncratic thing that might happen to you or to me. When we feel stressed, we can't problem solve. It really is an effect of cortisol primarily in our brain, and that our perceptions, our focus really narrows quite literally. So it becomes really hard for us to see outside of the problem, whatever it is that we're dealing with. So by talking to ourselves differently, by reframing, by looking for options, by calming our bodies down, we have the ability to be able to see things differently. And we can always approach stress by either working with our bodies physically, relaxation techniques, breathing techniques, those kinds of things, or through our thoughts. Whatever works for us is the one to work with.